Good evening. The time is 6 p.m. I'll call this specially called meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. We're to provide the citizens the opportunity to submit written or oral comments on the proposed 2016 millage rate. Is there anyone here who would like to address council? Surprise, surprise.
Marcy Ferris, 1749 Ridgedale Drive. I can't really say anything because I don't know what you're proposing. So could you explain what you're proposing and where the money's going to go to?
I happen to have an expert up here at the dais with us this evening, our city manager, Butch Sanders,
Good.
who is going to explain it to you in detail. And if you have any questions when he's finished, please say right where you are and we'll ask him questions, okay?
Okay. Okie dokie.
Ms. Ferris, and Mayor and Council, everybody else who was
Kathy
nice enough to
Emanuel
come out
and
this
Deborah
evening.
Pennington.
You have, the Mayor and Council has in front of them, I believe you all have the 5-year ad. We can start with the 5-year ad. You can see that the 2016 proposed millage rate.
Excuse me, is there another copy of that so everybody can see it?
We just got it.
Ma'am, do you have one? Okay.
I just want to make, I put it on the screen if you hold another copy.
If you look at the 2016 proposed, you can see that the millage proposed is 4.588 mils. That is exactly the same millage as we had last year, 4.588 mils. That is the millage that the staff proposed in the FY17 budget and the Mayor and Council adopted. Now that millage rate has various impacts, and it's derived through a lot of review based on revenue needs and based on the tax digest. And that millage is set in compliance.
There's some on the back table back there.
Yes.
Just as you come in. Thank you. Sorry.
That 4.588 millage rate is set in compliance with the state law, which the state law is complied with really through the rollback form, which I believe the Mayor and Council has on the dais. And the two important numbers in looking and setting millage and looking at a tax digest are the reassessment number and the other changes to the taxable digest. Do you not have one, Bonnie? If you look at the bottom brown or beige line, you can see reassessment of existing real property was about $39 million. And all of these numbers come from the county tax assessors.
Where'd the reassessment amount come from?
From the county tax assessor, they're the ones.
Where is it on here?
What's on here is the net digest number of 747 million. That number is derived from tax assessor numbers, and the rollback rate determines the rollback rate as well as we have to plug in our millage, and I'll get to that in just a second. The other changes is the real growth in our digest, real growth in our community, new buildings, new personal property. Although if you look closely, personal property declined by about motor vehicles declined by about $5.5 million, and personal property declined by about $500,000. So that's a little disconcerting, but so based on the state law, we could take full advantage of the real growth, the $10.1 million, but if you're going to take advantage of the reassessment growth, the $38 million, then you have to call it a tax increase, and that's why we have these meetings here. To avoid, if you wanted to have avoided these meetings, you would have had to have set the millage rate at the rollback rate. The rollback rate was 4.349 mils, which basically is a millage that only allows us to take advantage of the new growth, the real growth in the community. By setting the millage or proposing to set the millage at 4.588, that is about a 5.5% increase over the rollback rate. It's not an increase in the millage that we had last year, but it's an increase when it comes to adding all of your tax digest together. And according to the state law, since it is higher than the rollback rate, it is considered an increase, and hence the need for 3 public meetings. I can tell you this, going back to the 5-year ad, I think there's some interesting things here to look at. 2010 is not in here, but if we went back to 2010, the millage rate in 2010 was 5.9 mils. Since 2010, if the 4.588 remains, the citizenry would have seen a 22.5% reduction in millage in those 6 years. And if you look at the effect on the revenues to the city coffers, in 2010, we received about $4.4 million from property taxes, by far our largest revenue source. In 2016, because of that 22.5% reduction, the revenue is down $1 million, $3.4 million. So that tells me that we're operating efficiently and wisely and able to maintain the millage rate from last year and have implemented a 22.5% reduction over the last 6 years. So Marcy, the proposed millage rate is 4.588.
So in other words, it really isn't an increase.
Excuse me?
In other words, it's really not an increase.
It is not a millage increase.
It's not a millage increase, but it is.
It is considered a
It is
tax increase.
considered a tax increase because not because we're raising the millage, because your property values went up.
Right.
Okay, but I remember this meeting in 2010 when we had I had a graph up there showing where the property values in all the surrounding cities was hit by 17%, and we were hit by 32%.
I remember.
Okay? I'd much rather sit here and say our property values are going up, and because your property values are going up, we're not going to charge you any more on millage rate, but you're going to pay, from the figure I believe I heard was $9.56 per $100,000 worth of value. Okay? And then, you know what, folks? We're raising your millage rate because your property value has gone down and you've lost money, but you know what? The city still needs some money, so we're going to have to raise our rates so that we get the same amount from you.
Right.
Which is basically what we had to do in 2010.
Right.
Now it's just the opposite. Okay? We had a 35+% increase in our solid waste contract per household. Went from a little over $7 to a little over $10 per household. We've even gotten a 5% increase across the board for a police department. We've got other people in line for raises across all the people in the city, all the employees. We're doing all that and maintaining, and my hat's off to Butch for this, and maintaining the same millage rate that we've had for the last 2 years. So,
I understand.
I'm sorry?
I understand.
I know you do.
And I also would tell you, like I said last time, I'm willing to pay more if it'll keep the good people here. if it would go to salaries and keep all the good people here.
We don't want to lose anyone, Marcy, you know that. And
I
when we
know,
work very,
and I
we
don't-
work very hard at keeping, in keeping our people.
And I think this is wonderful, but I'd be willing to pay more, and I don't think most citizens would complain if they did have to pay more. I mean, the increase is nothing.
We agree.
Good.
Good
Then we're all
management,
in
good
agreement.
management, okay? And,
Uh-huh.
and please understand, if you look back, and you know what, Butch, I would like you to do this if you would. From 2010 to 2017, and maybe we could have this just to highlight, what percentage of increase in salaries our employees had from 2010 to the 2017 budget. I think you'll agree that it's probably the highest in the county. That doesn't mean that every employee in the city gets paid equivalent. I think, well, we're working hard at getting them there if they're not there already. And also, please understand that our employees got raises in 11, 12, 13, and 14 when county and other cities didn't get anything there. Everybody was flat. So I think I hear it a lot that, well, like you said, we're willing to pay more if you give the employees more, okay? Well, we certainly want to do that. No one here is saying, let's keep our taxes low so we can keep everybody here and below market rates. We're certainly not doing that. And maybe if we showed this figure of the 7 years, what the increase in a position would be, it would put a bit better light on it. Because I really think we need to put a better light on it.
Well, we also have to make sure that we're competitive with other cities.
We work very hard at that. Butch, we just finished a survey, and Butch has a plan, and believe me, we were not the lowest that won the
Yes,
survey.
and he did a great job on that survey.
See,
He really
we're-
did.
so
A lot
we're
of
trying.
work went into that, a lot of thought, and his 3-year plan is really good. So,
trust me, and we're behind that plan. There's no one here on this dais that doesn't want our people to stay and be happy and be well paid. No one up here wants that.
yeah, and I don't want to see any more job openings at $10 an hour. Especially when they're for people that are in the
Who did, I'm
public
not
works.
guilty of that. I don't know what, there's a lot of things going on. I don't know what that's about, so I can't argue, or can't defend whatever that was. I have no idea what you're talking about, so.
Butch knows, he'll explain to you. Right, Butch?
You know what, let me explain something to you. As an employer, I'm not talking about city government now or hiring city employees, but as an employer, okay? When I go to hire an employee, I have to consider how much that employee is going to cost per year, okay? One part of that equation is salary, okay?
Yeah, you've got your benefits and everything else.
Absolutely. Am I going to give them a vacation? Am I going to give them holiday pay? Am I going to give them sick days? Okay? Am I going to pay for hospitalization for him and his family?
Right.
Because if I'm going to go look for a job, and this gentleman here is going to pay me $15 an hour and insure me, but I have to pay for my family, okay? But this gentleman over here is going to pay me $13 an hour, but he's going to give me insurance for my entire family. This is the better deal for me.
Right.
Even though this guy gets me willing to pay me $2 an hour more. So if all my concern is, and believe me, I have had employees that refused health insurance because they wanted a higher per hour rate. Okay? But to me, that's short-sighted, because that doesn't tell the entire story. All that does is tell how much they're going to get paid per hour, not how much they're going to earn. Over here, with all the benefits and everything in it, that's what you earn per hour. Okay? So there's a difference. So I don't know what that $10 an hour was, but if that was $10 an hour plus, an $1,100 a month hospitalization policy, then that's not $10 an hour anymore. I don't know. I'm not arguing the point. I don't know.
don't get me started on your hospitalization insurance. I think your deductible is way too high.
Marcy, I love
Yes.
you. We can take this, the
And
rest of this
Butch-
conversation
and
off.
Butch- And Butch
off-
said he's gonna look at a new insurance plan coming
He
up.
is,
So
he is.
if he does as well as he did on the salaries, we'll be in really better shape.
Why would we believe he wouldn't?
No reason
No
not to.
reason, that's right, exactly. That's why he's our
Took
city
him a
manager.
little longer than he initially said, but he came through.
It's the end product.
Anyway, like I said, I'd be willing to pay more, and so would others.
Anyone else? Seeing no one else, I'll adjourn this meeting. Do I have a motion? I have a motion. Is there a second? I have a motion and a second. Any discussion of council? If not, I will call the question. All those in favor of adjourn, please signify by raising your right hand. That's 5-0. We're out of here. Marcy, thank you.